So, of course, Blackburn Rovers' season is barely over, but the news continues to surface around Ewood Park with, of course, not only non-playing personnel, but now the players. Of course, rumours starting to surface about players potentially coming in, but also players potentially going out. And, of course, one name that's been on the list, on our lips, of potentially leaving Blackburn Rovers has, of course, been the superstar man of the past year, Sammie Szmodics. That's right. And right here, right now, there are small mumblings going around that newly promoted former Premier League winners, Leicester City, are now started to gather up their pennies to try and throw all their money, or at least a significant chunk of money, at Blackburn Rovers for the services of Sammie Szmodics. That's right. Now, this bit of news, of course, is coming at you from, I don't know, not the greatest of sources, but I thought I wanted to mention it anyway. It is Give Me Sport website. They have this statement here, which maybe I can zoom in a little bit. It says Leicester City preparing to make a bid for Blackburn Rovers star Sammie Szmodics after boss Marquesca has begun pinpointing summer transfer targets ahead of Premier League action returning to King Power Stadium next season. Give Me Sports sources have revealed. Now, I don't know who those sources are, but it's probably got a little bit of legs on this one. And now, of course, it's not great news. It's not great news for Rovers, of course, but it's news that we're probably anticipating. And to be honest with you, we hold all the cards here. We hold all the cards in this potential transfer scenario. We don't have to sell. That's, of course, the major point. Of course, Szmodics did sign a new deal, but recent words from the man himself on a recent podcast hosted by former Blackburn Rovers manager Sam Allardyce. He said that no one would begrudge him a move to the Premier League. Now, I would not begrudge Sammie Szmodics a move to the Premier League, especially if his move generates some income. Now, that is massive for us. We've got to bear that in mind. Money of that significant nature, 20 million, could, of course, provide some building blocks for the future. We already got a bit of cash from Adam Wharton, which, of course, hopefully keeps the lights on at Blackburn Rovers for a little bit longer. And, of course, this sort of deal here, 20 million, of course, will also provide some finances for the future. Now, again, when we look at those numbers, the 20 million from Wharton, another potentially 20 million here, you start licking your lips. You think, oh, yes, we're going to go out there and drop 40 million on some players. That's not the case, guys. No matter how much money we generate, we've got to be practical about this. We're not going to get 40 million. We're not even probably going to get 10 million. We'd be lucky to get a couple of million, to be honest with you, because football is a funny old game and we are owned by the madhouse, the Venkies, and we're highly unlikely to see a significant chunk of change. I'm not saying we're not going to spend any money, of course, this summer, but realistically, my gut opinion is that it's going to be a lot of wheeling and dealing in the bargain bucket. We've got to understand that. But there are some gems in the bargain bucket. Let's understand that. Football has now changed to a player power kind of thing. They hold some of the cards. Of course, when the contract runs out, we look at there's a handful of senior pros out there from the Championship and even the Premier League that will be looking for new clubs, and we've got to be in that discussion to try and use that free transfer market to the best of our ability. Now, what I can say about this potential scenario here with Leicester City is they're not going to be the only ones. So let's understand that. Of course, Leicester City will be competing, I would imagine, with maybe 3 or 4 other clubs as well. Some of the other names mentioned or around the place, extra murmurs include Everton, include Brentford, but also include returning teams to the Championship, Luton Town. Now, I don't see Sam Szmodics wanting to throw all his toys out of a pram for a move to Luton Town. That's kind of just swapping one Championship season for another. He's created the scenario for himself. Now's his chance to, of course, go and play in the Premier League. Of course, I don't know, Leicester, I think would be a good scenario for them. I don't think they're going to struggle next season. I think they're going to learn from their mistakes and, of course, finish comfortably in the middle of the pack there. So I think this will be a good move. But my hopes is that the Evertons, the Brentfords also start thinking, you know what, we should also have a better piece of the pie here, and maybe we can start drive that fee up a little bit to 20-25 million pounds. Of course, we were hoping something of that ilk would happen for Adam Wharton, but unfortunately, a lot of clueless recruiters out there didn't see the full potential that Crystal Palace did. And of course, they are now licking their lips with potentially also selling their young price assets as well. And that's a story for another day as well. There's a potential extra windfall if an Adam Wharton was to move on already to a Champions League club. We might make a video about that. I don't know. But for me, right here, right now, this is good news for Rovers. We've got to, and again, if this is true and there is legs behind this, the staff, and I know it's hard to fucking organise a shag fest in a brothel with these guys at Blackburn Rovers. If we are going to sell this guy, we realistically need to get the deal done. We've got to get him out off the books now, get the money in the coffers, and start planning for next season. I also saw a news article about John Eustace saying there's not much, we're in an okay sort of position. We don't need too much of a facelift. I don't know if he's just trying to sweeten the deal with the higher up, saying I don't need that much money to put a lick of paint on this Blackburn Rovers team, but. For me, that's worrying words a little bit. Realistically, we weren't in a relegation situation because we were great. We were in a relegation situation because we had lack of depth, lack of experience, and that is, of course, something that needs to be rectified. And, of course, when you do sell a man who scored 30-odd goals for you in a season, guess what? You're going to need a little bit more than a lick of paint. Again, another video potentially down the road for that one. But sell early. Get good bang for your buck, and then, yes, of course, keep the lights on, pay the staff, pay the canteen crew, all that kind of stuff. We want fucking Yorkshire puddings on a Sunday. I get that. Get them sorted out, get them paid, everything paid up, and then, of course, put a little bit of that money into John Eustace's pocket to hopefully find a few savvy buys. Of course, there are rumours and, again, little quiet murmurs of a new goalkeeper, perhaps, which, of course, would go a long way. Not only if it's an experienced set of hands, a John Rudy, perhaps, to provide a bit of more experience for a Leo Walstadt or a Ainsley Pears, of course, still two youngish goalkeepers. John Rudy's been there, seen it, and fucking got the T-shirt, mate. He can offer a bit of insight and also provide a bit of a backbone when we need it, when shit hits the fan. Of course, unlucky to be on a relegation side in Birmingham City, but the stats don't lie, folks. He is a good, competent keeper. They're not only to provide something from the bench or backup, but also to challenge for that number one. And we need challenges. We need competition across the board here. We don't have that. And that is something for me. I think we need a good 5 or 6 players, keeping a hold of the youth, and then, of course, getting rid of some deadwood, or at least loaning out some of these youngsters who kind of got promoted to the first team because we had fuck all. There was a lot of guys here that are not ready to be playing championship football week in, week out. Let's get 5 or 6 experienced pros in. Let's get some goals in this team. And, of course, we cannot do that without money. And we, of course, have got to see the writing on the wall with Sammie Szmodics. But, again, we hold the cards in this deal. We hold the cards. Signed a new deal. We could keep it as is. Keep Szmodics with us. Again, he probably won't like it because he had the season of his life. And his stock is high. And we've got to look at this as a business point of view. We could just turn the clock back maybe 5 years or so ago. Bradley Dack's stock was fucking sky high. Sky high. West Brom came in, 15 million or something like that. We, of course, held tight, held on to our asset, which showed a bit of cojones for us. But then, of course, fast forward 2 or 3 more years later. And, of course, look at young Bradley. No, when I say young, Bradley Dack now, of course, he's having a bit of a tough old time. Looking like he might be going back to League One with Birmingham, perhaps, Barnsley, some other Stevenage linked with him. So it's a short window, short lifespan, short career for these players. I'm not going to begrudge Sammie Szmodics to move to the Premier League. And if the money's good, that could also benefit Blackburn Rovers. We've got to take it. But is Leicester City the answer? Well, we're going to have to find out. Of course, the bidding war should start soon. Get that money in quick. Start, of course, get pre-season off on the right foot, Eustace. Let's not fucking dilly-dally here. Get some players in. Get them on board. Get them on a boot camp or something. Let's all sing off the same hymn sheet. And, of course, give it a right old good go next season.